truth about Scott Wedman has finally revealed itself after decades of silence. For years, basketball fans wondered why such a talented all-star seemed to disappear into the shadows of the Boston Celtics. People whispered about locker room drama, about teammates who didn't accept him, and about personal choices that made him an outsider. But now at 72 years old, Wedman is speaking openly about what really happened during those championship years. Scott Dean Wedman was born on July 29, 1952 in Harper, Kansas. His childhood was spent on a 100-acre farm where he learned the value of hard work through 4-H activities and daily farm chores. His father, Tom, worked as a Boeing engineer, farm equipment maker, and car dealer. The family taught Scott discipline from an early age, especially through a strict dietary plan that would follow him his entire life. When the Wedmans moved to Denver, Colorado, Scott attended Mullen High School. He was small for his age and considered a late bloomer by coaches. Nobody expected much from the farm kid who seemed too short and too thin for basketball. But during his senior year, everything changed. Scott hit a massive growth spurt that transformed his game completely. Scott followed his older brother Mike to the University of Colorado. Under coach Sox Walseth, he became a 3-time letterman and one of the best players in school history. He scored 251 career points and grabbed 684 rebounds. Scott averaged 16.7 points per game and finished as the 4th all-time leading scorer and rebounder for the Buffaloes. He earned all Big 8 conference honors twice, leading the team in scoring during his junior year with 17.7 points per game and his senior year with 20.0 points per game. The Kansas City Omaha Kings selected Scott 6th overall in the 1974 NBA draft. This made him the highest drafted player from the University of Colorado at that time. Memphis also picked him 2nd in the ABA draft, but Scott chose the NBA because he wanted to compete against the best players in the world. Scott made an immediate impact with the Kings. He quickly earned the nickname the Incredible Hulk because of his intense weight training sessions. His dedication to fitness was legendary, even among professional athletes. This commitment proved vital in 1979 when Scott flipped his Porsche in a car accident. Doctors said his incredible conditioning helped him return to action after missing only a few games. During his 7 seasons with Kansas City, Scott played alongside stars like Tiny Archibald and Otis Birdsong. He reached his statistical peak in the 1979-80 and 1980-81 seasons, averaging 19.0 points per game. His career high came in 1980 when he scored 45 points in an overtime victory against Utah. The NBA recognized his excellence with 2 All-Star selections in 1976 and 1980. He also made the NBA All-Rookie First Team in 1975 and the NBA All-Defensive Second Team in 1980. Scott was a key part of the Kings' surprising run to the Western Conference Finals in 1981. But after that season, financial problems forced Kansas City to make tough choices. The team could not afford to keep both Scott and fellow All-Star Otis Birdsong. This led to Scott signing with the Cleveland Cavaliers as a free agent on a big $1 million contract. His time in Cleveland was short but productive. Scott averaged 10.9 points per game in his first season, then bounced back to 18.1 points in 35 games during the 1982-83 season. On January 14, 1983, Cleveland traded Scott to the Boston Celtics for Darren Tillis and cash. This trade would later be called a steal for Boston. Joining the Celtics meant a huge change for Scott. He went from being a star and primary scorer to backing up Larry Bird, one of the greatest players in NBA history. Scott openly admitted this was a very difficult adjustment to make. He felt disappointed about spending so much time on the bench behind Bird. The locker room situation was tough at first. Scott said he did not receive a warm welcome from his new teammates. They were worried about their own playing time and saw him as competition. A funny story from this period shows how different things were. Scott had to paint his white basketball shoes green for his Celtics debut because the team only allowed black or green shoes. Scott's minutes dropped dramatically to just 13 minutes per game during his first year and a half with Boston. His scoring average fell to around 5 points per game. He initially felt despondent due to his reduced playing time and felt like he was not contributing to the team, but Scott showed incredible professional strength. He began to understand what was expected of him and worked hard in practice to stay ready for any opportunity. The coaching change helped a lot. When Casey Jones replaced Bill Fitch for the 1983-84 season, things got better for Scott. Jones gave him more consistent playing time and praised his perfect attitude. One thing that made Scott different was his strict vegetarian diet. His parents had encouraged this eating style from when he was young. While this helped keep him in peak condition, it also became a source of endless teasing from teammates Larry Bird and Kevin McHale during practices and team meals. What seemed like just good-natured joking actually showed something important. Scott's approach to nutrition and wellness was way ahead of its time. Many of his methods that teammates thought were weird in the 1980s are now common in professional sports. Scott became known as the ultimate X factor for the 1980s Celtics. Basketball historian Bob Ryan called him an unsung hero whose presence helped shape the team's chemistry and toughness. Scott understood he had no chance of replacing Larry Bird and knew the Celtics needed something different from him. Scott's shooting ability was his greatest weapon. He had one of the purest and most consistent jump shots of his era. His shooting form featured incredible upper body strength that let him softly flick long jumpers from an extremely high release point that most defenders could not bother. This unique release made his shot incredibly hard to contest. Scott's most famous performance happened in Game 1 of the 1985 NBA Finals, known as the Memorial Day Massacre. In this game, Scott achieved perfection by going 11 for 11 from the field, including 4 for 4 from beyond the arc. He scored 26 points in just 23 minutes. This shooting display remains unmatched in finals history. Beyond this amazing game, he also hit a crucial winning baseline jumper in overtime of Game 2 of the 1984 Finals. During the 1985-86 season, Scott showed his value when Kevin McHale got injured. Scott stepped into a starting role for most of February and averaged 14.7 points per game, helping the team navigate McHale's absence effectively. Scott's shooting stretched the floor in ways that were ahead of his time. While the three-point shot had been introduced in 1979, teams had not yet embraced its full strategic potential. Scott's consistent long-range shooting provided valuable spacing for interior players like Larry Bird and Kevin McHale in an era dominated by post play. He effectively served as a prototype for the modern 3-and-D player. His perfect 11 for 11 performance in the 1985 Finals was more than just impressive statistics. It demonstrated his stay-ready mentality and his ability to perform at the highest level despite a reduced role. This game was a decisive victory for the Celtics, and Scott's contribution from the bench perfectly showed his X-Factor status. After the 1985-86 season, Scott's career began to end due to injuries, especially a persistent heel problem. In his final season, he was limited to just 6 games. The Seattle Supersonics traded for him in October 1987, but Scott retired before playing a single game for them. He could not overcome the heel injury at 35 years old. Despite his career ending due to injury, Scott's legacy is secure. He played 13 seasons in the NBA and won 2 championships. Some observers believe the Celtics would not have won the title in 1984 and possibly not even 1986 without his contributions. His flawless shooting performance in the 1985 Finals remains a historic achievement. Scott has been recognized through multiple Hall of Fame inductions. The Colorado Sports Hall of Fame honored him in 2007, the Colorado University Athletic Hall of Fame in 2015, and the Pac-12 Conference Hall of Honor in 2016. At 72, Scott now speaks openly about the sacrifices and personal choices that helped deliver those championships. His career shows that true value in team sports goes far beyond individual statistics. He proved that you do not have to be the loudest voice or biggest name to make a championship difference.